Marcelo Lewin is the creator of Pixelheads Network, producer of audio and video podcasts aimed at digital media creators. I recently spoke to Marcelo about the changes in the media landscape and why he started Pixelheads Network.
It started actually as the digital media dude. I started as a blog. I've seen 3 years ago. I've seen new media coming. Basically, web video was really the rave, and all sorts of new media, blogging, e-marketing. So I decided to start writing a lot about that because I was getting into that, and I created a blog site called the Digital Media Dude. Because a lot of people at work, where I worked full time, were saying, "Hey, you really know about this stuff. You're like the media dude." And I'm like, "Media dude, okay. I'll call it the Digital Media Dude." So I got that domain, started the blog site, and then started doing a lot of posts. And I started getting some questions: how do you do this on a certain program? You know, how-to kind of thing. And I'm like, well, you know what? Let me create a little screencast for you and show you. And that started my first quote-unquote podcast show. I called it the Daily Tip, the Digital Media Dude Daily Tip. But it was always about me, the Digital Media Dude, as opposed to the show. Well, the show started getting more popular, so then what I ended up doing is I wanted to shift the focus away from me, the guy doing it, and more into the company and the shows. So then basically I switched the name from the Digital Media Dude to Pixelheads Network to make it more of a network of shows. And the whole thing behind Pixelheads Network is they're shows for digital media creators. So if you look at all the people that are out there creating the videos, you see a lot of podcast networks that create these shows for general audience. Behind the scenes, there's people creating those shows. So you've got video editors, you've got people writing the scripts, you've got web developers, you've got a whole bunch of people working. Well, my shows are geared towards those people, towards the people creating digital content. So that's the whole concept behind Pixelheads Network. It's shows for digital content creators.
Lewin's shows are intended for a specific audience.
It's not your mom, your dad, your grandpa. It's the guy or the girl that's there blogging or e-marketing or doing web development or editing on Final Cut Pro. Basically, if you think about it, you and I and every blogger out there, we're the new influencers. We're the ones that are really dictating what's going to be popular and what's not going to be popular. Yeah, the TV networks, the radio stations, the big ones, yeah, they still have an influence. But most people, probably more your age than my age, I think I'm older than you, but most people are on the web. And most people, when something happens, when the earthquake just happened in LA, everybody went to the web to see what size was it, where was it, immediately. Nobody turned on the TV. That's really what happened, including my mom, and she's 75 years old. She went to the web.
Celebrities and executives are recognizing the power of new media.
They know that our sites are influencers of purchasing, of visiting other sites, so they do want to take the time out. And these are the people that understand new media, that understand what's happening. The ones that still think that doing a press release corporate style or going only to the TV networks is the way to do it, they're just working with the old rules. I remember going to NAB 3 years ago, covering it through my Exposed podcast show, and people, I would say, yeah, I'm with Exposed podcast, and go, oh, podcast show, okay, great, see you later. Today, I'm invited to all the shows, starting probably last year. Every single show I'm invited to is press. They literally, now I'm press. Before, I was just a podcast show that nobody cared about. So I think there is a shift in the mentality where people say, you know what, this is really taking off, this is really the future, and we got to take these guys seriously now.
I think the blurring of the line between pro and amateur, and how anybody, for better or worse, anybody with Final Cut on their machine is suddenly a video editor.
I think it's for better, because the reality, number one, is I don't know about you, but myself, 10 years ago, nobody would have taken me seriously if I wanted to do video. The networks, you needed all this equipment. I was empowered to start with Movie Maker on Windows XP, and then I switched to iMovie on Mac. But I was empowered because of that technology to get to the point where I am today, where I'm considered a professional today. So I think it's actually for the better, and it's making a level play field where somebody like myself, which is basically a one-man band like you with some people helping out, but in basically a one-man band, can compete on iTunes with ABC or NBC or any of the big networks out there.
Marcelo says digital skills continue to merge.
You're really not just a video editor or just a developer. You need to know some design. You need to know how to flatten audio because you're doing Flash, and in your Flash animation you're going to have audio, which means you need to know animation. which means you need to know mainly how to draw. You need to know, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So today there's no such thing as a one title person. You may have a title, but that title really requires you to do a whole bunch of stuff. So I think there's no such thing as just a video editor unless you're working in Hollywood on the big movies. The industry is at a point right now where the web industry was in 95, 96, where you had, hundreds if not thousands of companies jumping into the web, but then all of a sudden 5-7 years later, small companies went out of business, bigger companies merged and took the little companies, and basically you have now Amazon and Google, basically. I mean, obviously I'm simplifying the process, but so I'm hoping that we're still in business, and I'm hoping that basically this really takes off. I put a lot of work into it, and I would like for this to really become something that a destination that digital media creators go to. When it doesn't matter if you're in the LA Final Cut Pro user group, or you're in an Avid group, or you're in wherever you're at, they go, oh yeah, go to Pixel Heads Network because there's something there for you. That's what I'm hoping where we'll go.